What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. We're today back on the K10 and we're doing part 2 of the sound system. So on the last video you saw we put in 4-inch front speakers. The deck that isn't installed right now got wired, installed, and the bezel got modified to make room for the single din. So now I'm moving into the back half where I'm building a back wall, doing panels in the corners for 6x9s, 2 shallow 10 inches, and then amp in the middle. So here I got the table saw out, I got a sheet of 1/2 inch MDF. This is kind of a rough idea of what I'm going for. Very rough drawing, I'm no designer here, but you kind of get the idea. Big long wall, subs stick out. They are angled to maximize the amount of air I can get in the box while still fitting behind the seat. Amp will go in the middle with wiring coming up through here somehow. We'll see how that works. Ports on either side to keep this as a ported box, and then the panels here will be at an angle where the 6x9s will sit. So I'm going to start by making this big back wall as my base, get that mounted into the truck, and then from there I can start cutting this front piece and all the side pieces and try to make everything fit together. With a little bit of cutting, a little bit of trimming, got this piece sitting in here, quite nice actually. It's 60 inches long, 5 feet long, 16 inches tall, and then it has a 30-degree cut on this edge to kind of meet up against this so that it fits a little nicer. So my plan here is where this kind of overlaps the outer skin, drill a hole, put some sort of nut in between these two layers, and then drill a hole through this, obviously, fasten it in. Then the idea is, as I tighten it, since it's going in, this angle will push this down, which will force it against the carpet, which should make the bottom stay in place. I'm hoping that's going to work like that, because if you push harder on this, because of the angle, it actually moves the wood down. So I'm gonna try that, thinking, so there's 5 spots I could do it. I'm thinking I'm just gonna try the outer ones on each end and then the middle, and then see how secure that is. So this actually ended up working perfectly. The plan went exactly how I thought it was going to, or how I was hoping it was going to, because like this is in here, really sturdy. 3 M6 bolts, and then the force up against the carpet here, and this thing isn't moving. So I'm glad that that worked out. So next thing, I'm probably gonna start cutting pieces for the actual sub box part of it. So I have this base piece done, just cut these two, 3-inch by 18-inch. They're gonna sit something like this, roughly 2.5 inches down from the top. So this sticks out 5, that sticks out 3, then it's gonna be tapered down from the top to the bottom. So what I'm gonna work on next is getting the angle cut on these so that everything kind of sits flush, and then probably doing the main front piece, maybe go into sides. So I'll cut some more pieces and then I'll update you when I get a little bit further. So now I put the bottom and these two top pieces on. They're only screwed in. I'm gonna be gluing and screwing, but I just basically countersunk the screws from the back just so I can have this held on here and to make sure everything is still square. So those three are screwed in. These side pieces are not. They're just kind of press fit in there. And I can kind of get an idea what this is kind of gonna look like. And then it'll come down in here like that to where the amp can sit. So next thing, I believe I'm gonna make this big front piece and then go from there. I got all the pieces cut. This is kind of what it's gonna look like. These edges are still a little bit rough. Gonna need to sand them up before it gets the carpet put over top. The thing is, the carpet's gonna hide a lot of this. So where it's not perfect, it's not the end of the world. I'll throw a little bit of filler on there. And wherever there's screws that are gonna be shown, like the ones on the back don't matter, but stuff like this, I'll put a little bit of filler on there. And I got this cutout done. This edge isn't the greatest because of where it is. It's kind of hard to cut that. So it's gonna need some sanding, but overall it's not bad. Everything's just kind of loosely fit together. So I will try to throw some screws in the end pieces, and then this bottom piece as well as this front piece, fit it in the truck, make sure it fits first of all. That's the biggest part. And I'm gonna have to make some sort of channel through the bottom for the wires to go through because this sits flat against the floor. The wires have to go under this, but they can't go under it because this sits flat against the floor. So I'm probably gonna have to cut, probably right in the middle of this, I'll make a cut like this, and then put a piece on the inside, and then just notch this out, same with the back, so that the wires can run up the back. And then I'll probably have some sort of hole here, put a hole and a hole, cut it, so it's just a nice oval where the wires can come through. But I'm gonna wait until I have an amp to know where all the outputs are before I do that. So that's where I'm at, and that's what's next. This box is really starting to take shape. I got the top screwed in a few different spots. Again, it's all just temporary. It's gonna all come back apart so I can glue it all. These end plates aren't totally in yet, but they fit nice. I sanded down the edges a little bit, kind of rounded off the corners, made it look a little bit cleaner. I'll still come in here with some filler and sand it off, make it nice and smooth. Not that you'll notice a whole lot, but when it's covered in carpet, I want it to be really nice. And I talked to a guy I know who knows a little bit more about audio systems than I do, and he actually recommended to not port this. It'll just make a better sounding bass note, essentially. He said it won't be quite as loud, but it'll be better quality. So that's kind of what I'm gonna be going for. He also said make sure all the edges inside are sealed up with sealant. So I will do that after it's all glued together. I'll go inside once I have the big 10-inch hole here. I can go inside, do all the edges, and then get some sort of fluff. I don't really know the term for it. It's kind of what's inside of a pillow, and then stuff it inside this box. It'll just make it sound that much better. So what I think I'm going to do next is make this channel that I was talking about earlier, so that I can have my wiring passing through underneath it to get to the back. I think that's what I'm gonna do next. Probably just gonna take this piece out, cut it in half basically, take 1.5 inches, 2 inches out of it, and then put a piece behind that. And then I'll have to notch this out, and I'll have to notch the back out. Got this channel all cut out, kind of messed up, but hey, the carpet will cover it all, so that's not a big deal. But that'll be the perfect size to fit the two 4-gauge wires through and the RCAs and the remote turn on. And then off camera, I did finally screw in the end plates. So that pretty much concludes putting the actual box together. I'm gonna wait until I have an amp before I drill the hole in here for where I want my wires to come through for the amp. And then once I get them, those terminals are gonna have to go somewhere here, likely. Maybe down here, not really sure. And then I'm gonna wait until I actually have subs before I make the big hole in here. So I think the next thing is I'm gonna try and tackle these corner speaker pieces. Basically what I have in mind is a piece from about here in the corner, down, across to here, go all the way up. It'll just be a flat across like this, and then I'll just have to make a filler piece for the top here. And I'm gonna stick a 6x9 in there. It'll be a little bit tight with the way the box sits here, but I think it should be all right. So this actually turned out to be a lot easier than I thought it was gonna be. Cut a piece 8 inches wide, 16 inches tall, same height as this. I did a little bit of trimming around here just to fit it in behind this weather stripping. Got a little short on the corner, but that's okay because then I have room for the wiring to go in. Then I just built this piece in the top here, trimmed it out. I'll do a load of sanding on this top edge, a load of sanding around here, and then cut my hole for my 6x9, and then that will be pretty much done. I'm gonna have to figure out a way to mount it into this piece. Not totally sure how I'm gonna do that, but I guess we'll figure it out. And just like that, I now have the other side in. This one actually took probably half the amount of time. Just cut the same piece, did the bevel trimmer on this edge, and then built this top piece here. And that's pretty much it for the construction of this back wall, and I'd say it turned out pretty good. So with that being said, I'm actually gonna call this episode here. This will be part 1. And then in part 2, first thing you're gonna see is probably mounting the speakers, because I do have those, and then I need to get a set of 10-inch subs and an amp so I can mount those, get those all kind of test fit, get the hole drilled in here, get the wiring kind of sorted out. And then I will have to get some fabric so I can wrap this and make it look very nice and almost factory looking. So with that being said, I'm gonna call this video here because there's gonna be a lot more coming, so I wanna just make a whole part 2 about it. So first thing you're probably gonna see in the part 2 is mounting the 6x9 speakers. Then I'm gonna have to get a set of 10-inch subs, as well as probably a 500 watt amp, not sure, and get that mounted in there so we can figure out the wiring, as well as drilling that hole to get the wires routed up to the amp. So with that being said, be sure to like and subscribe because part 2's coming and you're not gonna wanna miss that. So we'll see you in the next one, guys.